Hello, Azeroth. Today I find myself in the south shores of Zul'dazar, and that's because I wanted to share with you something I've been working on for a long time. A new PvP social event that I call the Dueler's Guild worldwide. This event consists of many arena matches separated by group sizes, and each category shall have its own winner. This event, and much more, is part of my personal work for World of Warcraft. The Azeroth's Vault is my Google website, and there I upload everything I have in mind for not only the game itself, such as these events. I'm currently working on a short novel too, but that's off topic for today. Let's keep this video for the Dueler's Guild. Ever since I discovered the game back in the Cataclysm, I've always loved both aspects of the game, the PvP and the PvE. Hence my effort to improve it and make it more appealing for everyone, old school players and newcomers as well. And two of my biggest inspirations for this were the Dueler's Guild, originally introduced by Blizzard back in BFA, and the WoW YouTuber Dueler Gaming. His contribution to the social aspect of the game was the spark that ignited this idea of mine. And when Blizzard introduced this little feature that had the in-game fantasy of a guild of arena contenders, I was hooked. So now let's have a better look at the Dueler's Guild worldwide. Once or maybe twice per year, the Dueler's Guild will invite all players around the world to participate in a regional tournament showcasing 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, and 5v5 arena matches. You can only participate in 2 categories, so choose wisely. There are different rewards for each category, and different rules. But first, let's make clear the scenarios where the competitors will eventually fight on. Due to this event taking place for the very first time, there will be an open and public poll through social media in which both participants and spectators will choose the arena for that year. The 2 candidate places we have, the Mugambala and Hook Point. Now let's get into the rules of the tournament. Of course, every class and spec is allowed to participate in the tournament. There are no limitation to team composition regarding roles. There's no penalty for class stacking. And there's no penalty for running unconventional team comps, triple healer, or 2 tanks 1 healer. Any burrowed power is allowed to be used. The burrowed powers must be agreed upon by the participants, where there will be a second poll asking them from what expansion they will use the burrowed power. For example, the majority of the contenders agree upon using the Azerite essences from BFA, or the Legion's artifact weapons, or no burrowed power at all, including any special ring or cape, just their class talents. There is, though, penalty for having cheese attitudes within the arena, such as burn CDs and hide. Once a player has entered stealth, they have 15 seconds to take action, or they will be disqualified. It is prohibited to heal yourself or your teammates out of combat. Food and drink is not allowed within the arena. Players are not allowed to spend more than 20 seconds out of combat. If this comes to happen, the player causing this will be the one disqualified, or the player who could have impeded that from happening. While under the effects of immunity to damage, you're not allowed to damage other players. You can still crowd control your opponents, heal yourself or an ally. Battle res is not allowed, not even normal res out of combat. 1v1 rules. A best out of 5 format will determine the winner of the match. Up to 100 players can apply for this category. There can be 2 categories for this format. Pick one class and stick with it until you either win or lose, or the other category, B, which goes like this. Each time you win, you must change your class or spec. You can't use a specialization you have already used to win. The amount of players corresponding to each category will depend on how many players choose each of them. Perhaps they all want to participate in the first category, so the second category has no contenders. Maybe it's a 50-50, who knows? 2v2 rules. A best out of 3 format will determine the winning duo. Up to 60 players, that's 30 teams, can apply for this category. Similarly to the 1v1 format, here you have 2 categories. The more traditional one where you assemble your team and you stick with your selected classes and specs, or the second category which implies that whenever a team wins, each member must change either their spec or class. 3v3 rules. Usually, whenever a team gets a kill, that team immediately wins the arena. That tend to happen because, most of the times, the team that loses one integrant give up and leaves the arena. Here, whenever a team gets a kill on the enemy team, that team scores a point. Whenever a team scores a point, that team must choose one integrant of the group and remove it from the arena. In order to not interrupt the flow of combat while the match is ongoing, teams must predetermine which players will leave the arena whenever they score a point. Of course, they have the liberty to decide this depending on the situation instead of an arbitrary decision. Don't worry, Only the members of the team will know which player leaves a match, and they can agree, for example, that player A will leave if they get a kill on player B of the enemy team, but player C will leave if they get the kill on the enemy player A instead. The team that scores 3 points wins the match. Not the best out of 3, though. 3 total points. Whenever a team scores 2 points, a 1v1 arena can take place, but is up for the winning team to decide whether to take it or leave it. Winning the 1 versus 1 scores 2 points instead of 1. Players can choose to take the risk of giving 2 points to the enemy team, or the glorious score of 4-0, for example. If the winning team decides not to fight the 1v1, all 6 players will be called again to fight one final time, but doing so gives the enemy team 1 point. 2-1, your team can decide to make it a 2-2 and start the 3v3 once again. Instead of risking the 2-3 scenario, 0-0 leads to 1-0, leading to a 2-0. Now the winning team loses the 1v1, making the scores 2-2. And if the team that started winning the match now loses the 3v3 this time around, that would lead to a score of 2-3, resulting in a thrilling comeback for the losing team. Up to 90 players or 30 teams can apply for this category. 4v4 rules. In this format, players won't have to force an ally to retreat from the arena each time they get a kill. Instead, the first team to score 6 points wins the match. Killing a DPS player scores 1 point, healers give 2 points, while tanks give 3 points on death. Up to 120 players, that's 30 teams, can apply for this category. Let's say, for example, that your team is formed by 3 damage dealers and 1 healer. If you get wiped by the enemy team, they would have scored a total of 5 points, right? So the rematch would take over, and you have the chance to reach 6 points before the enemy team defeats any of your team members and scores the required 6 points. Perhaps a team completely stomps the other team on the first go, scoring 5 points, but on the second match they couldn't defeat any of their rivals, and even more, they got stomped this time around, so the score is equal, 5-5. And now it's an all-or-nothing situation. Third match, where the first team to kill an enemy player takes the win. 5v5 rules. All teams must have at least 1 tank in their group, however, they can run no healer if they wish so. Just as in 4v4, no one retreats from battle this time around, and the team that scores 10 points first wins the match. Score points remain the same as 4v4. Up to 125 players or 25 teams can apply for this category. Rewards for everyone. Either if you are a lone wolf that participates in the 1v1, a proud member of a team of 5, a spectator, or a total wimp, there are plenty of rewards awaiting for you in this tournament. Feats of strength, achievements, titles, unique mounts, transmog, toys, player borders, displayable mastery, similar to how the Hero Mastery works in Heroes of the Storm. All that stuff will be obtainable if you interact with the tournament. And remember, this will be a one-time event per year. For now, it's best to assume that the event will last from 5 to 7 days, each day covering at least 1 category of duels. And this is also an open-world event, so gather your friends, share it on social media, and make sure no one misses that year's Duelers Guild. Make your bet on your favorite duelers. That's it for now, friends. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like my work and ideas, and I'll see you
Catch you
on
later.
Azeroth.